guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Valerie here. So happy to have you guys with me. We are continuing with the recovering of this sectional in my living room. Now in part 2 we covered 3 throw cushions that came with the sectional. You're not going to see them anywhere near here because what I want to do is a big reveal at the end of everything that we have done, right? And so in this video, our next job is to tackle the back cushions. Now the back cushions, I want to change up things a little bit because how the back cushions are sitting right now, this is how they are meant to be sitting. And you know that because you can see where the stuffing, I'm saying the stuffing because it's not an insert, because the throw cushions did me the same thing where I realized that there wasn't an insert inside, there was just chip foam that was stuffed inside the pillow cover, right? And that is why I like a pillow cover that has an insert, because you can remove the insert and basically just clean the shell, right? These are not like that. This, they basically put the stuffing in and then they stitched across the bottom here. So I know they're all like that. The stitching stays at the bottom. Now I want to switch it up because from here to here, it's about 1.5 inches longer than it is wide, right? And I find that when I reorient them on the couch, I get a tighter fit, and so it stays tidier. So when I am covering them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the length for the width and the width for the length. So whenever I'm closing my cover, I'll have to remember that it doesn't go on this side, it goes on this side, and then it will be like this, right? So we are going to go ahead and we are going to make some covers for these back cushions. Stick with me, guys. Let's get started. Based on what I just said to you, our pillow then is now our insert. The case is staying on because there is nothing else on the inside but chip foam, right? So our length, which I will be using for our width, is 26 inches, and our width that I will be using for the length is 24 inches, right? So I am going to add 1 inch to the 26 to make it 27, and 1 inch to the 24 to make it 25. So I'll have a pillow cover that I'm cutting that's going to be 25 by 27 inches, right? And it just so happens that my fabric here is gonna be 27 inches because it's a full 54 inches wide piece of fabric. So I'm happy for that. All I need to do is to focus on the length here, which will be 25 inches. I have already squared up my fabric, and I did that just by removing or cutting off the self edge. After I removed the self edge, I then went ahead and used my square to put along the edge here, and then I drew my line across here and use my yardstick to extend my line and then cut the fabric. Now we have to go ahead and cut out 8 pillow covers. I have double the fabric here, so I will just need to make one cut all along 8 pillow covers. right? So let's go ahead and get that done. So that's 25. Where is my, here. Do you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and use my yardstick. Because when I use my yardstick, I can just go ahead and just draw right here. And I'm gonna measure off 25 on this side. And there is a trick I wanna tell you guys about after I have cut the first cover. So stick with me. Don't skip it now. It's very important. Okay, so now I have my marks. I'm just gonna pull this over and I am gonna draw a line across. And that's what I'm gonna do for each one of the pillow cover. Okay, so we're good there. I'll go ahead and cut. So this is gonna be my width and this is gonna be my length. I gotta remind myself of that. I'm just gonna stick a pin in the area that's going to be my length. I could also just use my disappearing chalk here just to put an X here and an X here. So I know that's my length and this is my width. Now I'm going to just cut my fabric like this. You got to be careful when you're doing that because you don't want to cut one bigger than the other. Or you could just go ahead and use your iron to press along where you want to cut and then just cut. But I'm good, right? This is now my pattern or my template. So what I'm gonna do is just stick a couple more pins in because I don't want it to shift all over the place. You know what? What I'm actually gonna do is I can remove this. I'm done with this for now. I'm gonna take off this piece and I'm gonna use just one piece as my template. Let's get the fabric back on the table. And go ahead and cut the self edge off. Initially, I mentioned that I was gonna go ahead and use this as my template. Now I don't have to do that because it's so easy to measure 25, 25, 25 and just cut, right? But there's something I wanna tell you, and it's that if you are using something like this for a template and you are going to be cutting multiple times, what you need to do is just use your first piece. Use your first piece as your template for every other piece. And the reason is each time you cut, there could be incremental differences, right? So imagine if I cut this, then I throw this aside and I use this piece and cut another piece and I keep going. By the time I am done, from the first piece to the last piece could be a quarter of an inch bigger. Use the first piece for all the other cuts that come after. Now, because I have this all lined up nicely, I'm just gonna go ahead and I am gonna use it as the template and I am cutting the other pillow cover. Now, another thing you want to consider when you are doing your cushions is there any pattern on my fabric? Ask yourself the questions. Is it an all over pattern, or is it a pattern that needs to be lined up? Will I be okay if the pattern doesn't line up? Right? You need to figure all of that out. Mine here is an all over brocade pattern that does not need to be lined up, no different colors or anything, so it will be just fine. But remember always to ask yourself the questions, because you don't want to get to the end where you have cut all your fabric and then you're disappointed. This goes with this. And I'm going to go ahead and make my X, because my X is for my length. I have 6 more to cut. I'm just going to go ahead and put this on time lapse to finish the cutting of all the pieces. It is time to start stitching the pillow covers. Now, I took you through cutting them because I wanted to give you a few pointers. However, what I'm going to do in the video is just stitch 1 pillow cover, maybe 2, but I'm thinking 1 in the interest of time, and so that you see how I do it, because I'm not going to close the cover like they have done here, because I want to access the insert so I can wash the cover. And I'm not going to be using a zipper, because 8 zippers for the back cushions and 8 zippers for the seat cushions, or I think 6 zippers for the seat cushion, could run me into some, spending I don't want to do. And so what I am actually going to do is stick with me. You will see just what I'm using when I get there. What I'm going to do right now is go ahead and stitch around the perimeter. Okay, so I have an X here. That's my length. And here. That's my length. Take this pin off, and I'm going to put right sides together, I am going to be leaving an opening at the base of the pillow cover. So I am just going to start stitching from about maybe 6 inches in and come around and 6 inches, about 6 inches to the other end. Now that I am done stitching the cover, this is how we are gonna close this pillow. We are gonna be using Velcro. I have already cut my pieces of soft side and hard side Velcro. So what I'm gonna do is just turn the lip right here, and I am gonna put the Velcro on. It's easier, it's cheaper, it gets the job done. And I am gonna stick a couple pins in. And then I am going to be using a zigzag stitch to do to stitch the Velcro onto the pillow cover. And what I have done, I should mention this, that what I have done is just cut, I think the Velcro was 1 inch, and I cut one piece into 2 pieces because I don't need a big wide piece of Velcro, right? I just need a strip to keep the pillow closed at the base of the pillow. Okay. I stitched this far enough back so the end of the Velcro is tucked in behind the stitch. Now I didn't want to use a straight stitch because the zigzag actually creates a wider stitch, so it helps to keep the Velcro in place better. Okay, so that's the hard side. Now I need to stitch the soft side on, and I have to make sure that I line it up with the hard side, so that when I'm done, it works how I want it to work, right? I have snipped off the corners of the cover just to make sure that the corner sits nicer when I flip it. Now you gotta be careful not to cut into your stitch, right? All we need to do is to turn this inside out and put the insert in. The one thing you got to make sure you do if you're doing it or doing covers like this, you have to make sure you reinforce your stitch in the area where the insert is passing through. This is looking good. Now, all I need to do is do up my Velcro. We are done. Here we go, guys. That's the first of 8. I will be doing the other 7 off camera, but the idea was just to show you guys how I did it. I hope this is helpful to you at some level, and you can already start seeing the transformation of how the couch is gonna look. I am so happy and I'm so excited that I am finally getting this done, my friends. If you enjoy the video, please give me some thumbs up, share the video, and watch these other videos, the 2 previous parts, part 1 and part 2. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for being here.